Hello everyone, I'm Fernanda Islas from Mexican Tax Administration Service Office, and I'm going to talk about dispute resolution mechanisms that are linked to transfer pricing issues, specifically MAPs and APAs. Here we'll talk about the most common procedures used by taxpayers regarding transfer pricing matter. The first one is the domestic appeals and litigation. This is a local option that taxpayers may apply and is the easiest because there is no contact with tax authorities abroad. The next mechanism that could be applied is the mutual agreement procedure. This is a little bit more difficult to use because it involves two or more tax authorities, and its principal objective is to try to avoid a double taxation arising from tax disputes. The last one is the advanced pricing agreement procedure, which is not as difficult as MAPs, because this is not considered as a defense mechanism. Indeed, this is usually considered as a friendly mechanism between taxpayer and tax authorities, local or foreign, where both parties try to agree the best transfer pricing methodology that should be applied for a specific transaction. Well, in this slide, I'm making reference to the Article 25 of the OECD Tax Model Convention, which talks about the right that taxpayers may use in case they become part of double taxation issues. In this context, taxpayers can present their cases to the competent authority of the contracting state of which they are residents for tax purposes, and also it establishes a period of time where these actions could be presented. It highlights that the submission of such requests cannot. Well, the second paragraph of the referred article mentions that tax authorities should try to resolve between each other the cases by mutual agreement procedures, always having in mind that the objective of such procedure is to try to avoid the taxation that is not accordance with the convention. Also, it considers that any agreement reached shall be implemented notwithstanding any time limits in the domestic law of the contracting states. The third paragraph states that tax authorities of contracting states should try to resolve by MAPS procedure the issues arising as to the interpretation or application of the convention, and it also states that such authorities may consult together for the avoidance of double taxation in cases not provided for in the convention. Finally, the last paragraph states that tax authorities may be directly in touch each other for reaching an agreement in the sense of the preceding paragraphs. Well, after analyzing the article that regulates mutual agreement procedure, it's important to analyze the main characteristic that this procedure usually presents. The first one is that this procedure is most often used in past years. The second characteristic is that it is considered a very useful tool for those taxpayers who have repeatedly unfavorable results by their local administrations. Also, the tax administrations became taxpayers' attorneys. One of the MAP main characteristics is that it tries to avoid the double taxation regarding unfavorable specific cases. And the last characteristic is that usually it becomes a very large and expensive process for the taxpayers and tax. Well, in this slide, I would like to talk about Mexico's approach regarding this procedure. A first important aspect that I want to underline is that Mexico's domestic law already regulates this procedure. The relevant aspects covered by Mexico regarding this procedure are the following. The first one is that MAPs are voluntary for taxpayers. The second one is that filing these procedures interrupts tax court actions. Also, it can be filed at any time before or after tax court actions. The following aspect that I want to share with you is that when maps are filled, taxpayers have 5 months to post statutory warranty. And finally, one of the most important aspects is that map decisions cannot be challenged in court if the proceeding. Well, to continue talking about Mexico experience, I want to share with you that actually the Tax Administration Service Office deals with more than 100 map cases, including BAPAs. Additionally, the main countries which have been involved with Mexico in MAP and BAPA cases are Canada, Germany, Italy, Japan, Switzerland, and jurisdictions that have been detected as regularly involved in mutual agreement procedures carried out by Mexico are the transfer pricing transactions, marketing services, distributions and logistics services, inbound manufacturing services, royalties, existence of permanent establishment, and income attributable to permanent establishments. Well, regarding bilateral advance pricing agreements, it's important to learn that such procedures try to resolve transfer pricing disputes for future years, and in some specific cases, it can be applied in previous years. Also, I want to emphasize that in recent years these agreements are strongly encouraged by many countries around the world. As BAPAs are considered important figures for both parties, taxpayers and tax authorities, these agreements also provide benefits to governments, like less contentious transactions treatment, more transparent actions, and added resources conserved. Also, the less contentious transactions treatments, greater certainty in their transactions, and avoidance of double taxation issues. Well, finally, I would like to mention that this is a very extensive topic, and because of time I couldn't cover all of it, but I want to suggest you some important readings that could be helpful to have a further understanding about these mechanisms. The first one is the OECD Manual on Effective Mutual Agreement Procedures. And another useful reading is the OECD Model Tax Convention, specifically the Article 25, the OECD Transfer Pricing Guidelines, specifically Chapter 4, Administrative Approaches to Avoiding and Resolving Transfer Pricing Disputes. And finally, I think that could be useful to read some domestic laws. Well, I hope my presentation has been useful for you, and if you have any doubt about this topic, I will be glad to answer your questions or reply your messages. And well, as last, I want to give special thanks for all my classmates during these months, and for SIAT's team for all the support that I received from you during this course and all the knowledge that you share with me through the classes, forums, and assignments feedbacks. I hope we can meet soon. Meanwhile, I send you my best wishes and thank you for all.